Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at the final entry in the Dirty Harry series. This movie came out in 1988, and it is called The Deadpool. Now, I'm a little bit wary going into this one, guys, because last month I covered the first 4 Dirty Harry movies, and all of them were good. They genuinely were good. But I noticed that the quality of the films began dropping off with each sequel. And the previous film in the series had almost nothing to do with Harry, and it really kind of sort of felt like they dumped him in as kind of sort of like a, like last-minute thing. I have read and I have been told that this film focuses far more on Harry's, exploits in, Frisco, which is probably good because when you want to watch a Dirty Harry movie, it helps if Harry, Callahan is your main character instead of a backup character like he was in the previous film. Anyway, but I also am fearing about just the general quality of this one dropping off. Just simply because that has been the pattern. And if this thing drops off too far, it will be basically a bad way to close out the Dirty Harry series. Now, this thing could also be a major improvement over the last 2. I have no clue. The only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good in the slightest is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out The Deadpool. Holy shit, that's Jim fucking Carrey. I didn't know that Jim Carrey was in any of the Dirty Harry movies, guys. It's actually kind of cool. My god. But then again, it also kind of stands out because I wasn't expecting to see Jim Carrey in a Dirty Harry movie. It's just kind of fucking with my head a little bit. Alright, guys. I have just seen something incredibly awesome. I just saw Harry verbally beat the ever-loving shit out of an incredibly irritating reporter. That felt incredibly good to just fucking watch him just verbally rip her to pieces, because frankly, she was kind of irritating. You know what, guys? It has been many years since the first Dirty Harry film. I still love Harry's general fucking style. The guy is just beyond awesome. So Harry now has mob-hired bodyguards. That's actually rather cool, guys. The story was kind of starting to, drop off, but the fact that now the mob has hired bodyguards to keep Harry safe, that actually is both kind of funny and really cool. Wow, guys. We actually have a tense showdown between Harry and our villain. And we haven't had this since the second movie. This is really fucking awesome, guys. Well, guys, that was The Deadpool. Let me shut that off. Wow. Before I say anything else, I just have to say, this thing is certainly a massive improvement over the last 2 films. That is saying a lot. I genuinely thought that this thing was going to be another drop off, and it was going to once more continue the pattern of the Dirty Harry films getting slowly worse with each entry. This one, though, by far, guys, was better than I was ever expecting. I would like to start with the writing. One of my biggest complaints about the 3rd and 4th movies in the series was that there wasn't a whole lot of focus there, and we did not spend a whole lot of time fleshing out our villain. We didn't have a whole lot of time actually focusing on the primary story, or or honestly, in the case of the fourth film, Harry's presence was essentially not even needed. This thing here, guys, is going back to it's going back to basics, and it's giving us the same it's giving us the same kind of really awesome, very tightly focused writing that we saw in the first two movies, which is fantastic. Where, okay, yes, we do have Harry doing other things. We do have Harry doing other, police work. But all of it still ties almost directly back to, or it all eventually goes back to, the main focus. Which in this case is a serial killer bumping off people according to a Deadpool that is being run by the crew of a film that's being shot in San Francisco. It's a very fascinating story, and I honestly kind of liked it. Our villain here is not only crazy, which kind of sort of seems to be like a common trait amongst the more interesting Dirty Harry villains. Not only is he nuts, but we also we also are given time to actually see more of him, and we actually get to see that he is frighteningly crazy, and that is fantastic, because the last time we had a character who was crazy, we never really focused on the character, and we were just sort of, we were told he was nuts, but we were never shown it. And this time we are told that he's crazy, and by God, do we ever get to see it. Our characters here are fantastic. I do have to question a single story point in this film, because almost as like a B plot of sorts, Harry is being hunted down by the fucking mob because he has locked up a prominent mob leader, which is cool and all. However, the last time that they used something like that, it was in the fourth film when Harry kind of sort of, without even trying, killed a prominent mob leader, and the mob was out for blood. So Harry was was put on leave and was sent to a small town somewhere. Why they didn't bother doing that again, I do not know. You would kind of think that, police fucking procedures wouldn't change much within, 5 years, but that's exactly what happened between the fourth film and this one. Is apparently, if you happen to piss off the mob, you are just kind of sort of, SOL. But hey, beyond that one little hitch in writing, which honestly though is just sort of a plot hole built up from the fourth film, it's fine. Everything else here is great, and Harry is once more back to his slightly, like, snarkier self that we saw in the first and third movies, which honestly, to me, is when Harry fucking Callahan is at his best, is when he's able to take care of business and is still able to be a little bit of a snarky smartass while doing it. To me, honestly, that just sort of builds the character a little bit more. So yeah, guys, writing here is incredibly solid, and I would highly recommend it solely on writing. But we also have the acting, and the acting here is stellar from everybody. I also was kind of I was really surprised to see that. I was kind of shocked to see that we had Jim Carrey in this movie. Mind you, now Carrey is maybe in the movie for about 3 minutes, because he actually is the first victim of our serial killer. And for the short time that he is here, he turns in a fantastic showing. And Clint Eastwood turned in a fantastic showing. Liam Neeson is the foul-mouthed, rude British film fucking director. He turns in a fantastic showing. Guys, everybody here turned in an awesome performance. The acting here is solid. Just as sort of like a note, the acting on this character was good. I just hated the fucking character. We are very early in the film. We are introduced to the head of the San Francisco PD's PR team. He is the most irritating character in the entire film. I was waiting the entire time for Harry to just backhand him, and we never get to see that. Thankfully, though, the character is barely in the movie, except Except we always hear about his comments about how everything going on is tarnishing the fucking image of the SFPD. It's like, it's all just, the character is just incredibly irritating, which I know was by fucking design. Anyway, that though is just back on writing. The acting here is really stellar. The acting here is really solid. Special effects here. Once more, guys, Dirty Harry, we don't have a whole lot of special effects outside of things like blood work, squibs, explosives. All of that works incredibly, incredibly well. Camera work here is good. Lighting here is good. The sound mix is perfect. Oh, there's one last thing involving writing which I have to talk about, and that is all of the good Dirty Harry films, in fact, even, you know, one of the lesser ones, all had a very strong message that is carried throughout the film. The first movie's message was, the system fucking sucks, and you still have to work with it, but it really doesn't stop the fact that the system is terribly, terribly flawed. You know, we have those sorts of messages throughout all of the films, first of all, about just basically the criminal justice system being total shit. The third film touched heavily on racial tension and everything else. This one here, guys, has a deep message about how news media are almost nothing but filthy and disgusting vultures, and seeing them in the film is going to almost sicken you, and it is sadly still true today, where basically, guys, the news media, all of it, local news, national news, doesn't matter, is basically just out for blood and carnage and just nastiness. And this film shows it in a rather bleak and stark light. And it was seriously a little bit, and it seriously was a little bit of a stretch back in 1988 for every single one of these cameramen and all of these fucking reporters to be these sorts of filthy vultures. However, though, watching it now in 2014. It seriously is becoming a more tightly focused issue because it actually has gotten worse, and media has become even more filthy and rancid and just out for blood. And that honestly is the major message in this movie, and it delivers it beautifully. Ultimately, guys, when all is said and done, am I able to recommend the Deadpool? Oh, fuck yes. This is without question among the better Dirty Harry films. I would probably have to rank it maybe third out of the 5. It kind of sort of lands in the middle. It certainly is not as good as the first, and it's not as good as Magnum Force, but it is certainly better than the other two. Okay, it genuinely is. This thing is awesome, and I would highly recommend it even to people who have not seen a Dirty Harry film. This thing is totally worth checking out. And seeing as how I bought this thing, guys, as a Blu-ray box set of all 5 movies, would I be able to recommend the box set? Well, yes, because frankly, even guys, with the flaws of the 3rd and 4th movies, and the slight flaws found in the 1st, 2nd, and 5th, all 5 movies are still incredibly solid, and they're awesome action films. I love them. All 5 movies are amazing, and if you can find the set on Blu-ray, if you can find the series on DVD, if you honestly can find these movies anywhere, pick them up. Especially, guys, if it's all 5 movies, because you then are getting a fantastic series that you almost have to check out. Now, I honestly am kind of sort of in, I'm kind of in the mood to watch some more fucking I'm in the mood to watch some more action movies. I'm kind of sort of feeling, you know, Rambo. I don't know why. I'm going to go watch I'm going to go watch first, you know, Blood, and after that I'll see if I'm in the mood for the 2 sequels. Anyway, guys, with that we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.